Greg may fall into this category, but a lot of people are going stir crazy after being home for so many days, wondering when things are going to return to normal, or at least a new normal. We're going to find out more about that today when Governor Abbott reveals even more about how he plans to reopen the state. So our question to you this morning is, if restrictions are eased, if they're lifted, would you feel comfortable dining in at a restaurant? And the majority of you right now are saying no, but you can continue to weigh in. Use the hashtag #I'mUp, join in on the conversation. Ariel Placencia with us this morning live in Ariel. What are we expecting today?
Good morning, Kara. So we are expecting the governor to talk about specific businesses, especially restaurants and hair salons, during his big announcement later on this afternoon. And that's from our partners over at the Texas Tribune. Of course, we'll wait to hear his official announcement. But as we talk about reopening, maybe over the weekend, if you were out and about a little bit, you might have noticed a bit more traffic for the first time in a long time around the malls in your area. And that's because Retail to Go launched on Friday. Customers can buy stuff online or order on the phone from stores inside the mall and then pick up their items in designated locations. So that's kind of the first step of reopening, but there are some people who believe that this is simply not enough. If you missed it, here's video from Saturday when hundreds of demonstrators crowded together in front of Frisco City Hall, demanding that the governor allow businesses, schools, and churches to reopen. Now, there is one North Texas city that's moving a bit ahead of Governor Abbott, and that's Colleyville. Restaurants there are now allowed to serve and seat customers on a patio, obviously staying 6 feet away, and customers are coming. This is video from the weekend. Stylists, barbers, personal trainers, massage therapists in Colleyville, they're also clear to take one-on-one appointments. So again, we will anxiously await that big announcement from the governor today. And in the past, he has hinted that it's possible to reopen Texas. He might do it in a tiered approach, maybe do it county by county, but of course we'll wait and see what he has to say. And right now it's expected that he'll speak around 2:30. Sonia?
All right, Ariel, thank you. As we talk about reopening, let's look at the numbers, okay? Across the state, there have been nearly 25,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases. In North Texas, we have more than 6,300 cases, more than 3,000 in Dallas County, 1,900 in Tarrant County, 700 in Denton County, and 663 in Collin County. We have additional counties represented on our website, WFAA.com, as well as information about recovery. And there's a list of new symptoms caused by COVID-19, ranging from mild to severe. There's an updated list from the CDC, along with fever, cough, and shortness of breath, which were the original symptoms. The CDC says you could experience chills, repeated shaking, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat, along with that loss of taste and smell that we've been hearing about for about 3 or 4 weeks now. Now, the CDC says these symptoms may appear anywhere from 2 to 14 days after being exposed to the virus. And with everyone staying at home, the airline industry has taken a big hit. In the future, air travel, as we know it, certainly will change. Cleo Green is live in our newsroom, and Cleo, airlines are going to have to make some major adjustments.
Yeah, and they are right now. In fact, the coronavirus pandemic will forever change airlines and the way we fly, but people are already starting to complain and have some major concerns about those changes, wondering if it will really help slow the spread. So check out this video. It went viral over the weekend here. A passenger captured this video on a packed American Airlines flight from New York to Charlotte this weekend. Now, while most people are wearing masks, there is a lack of social distancing here. American Airlines responded by saying, "We have expanded cleaning procedures to ensure high-touch areas are cleaned more frequently and introduced procedures to ensure employees maintain those proper distance from others." On a broad scale here, global airlines are stepping up cleaning procedures to reduce risk of virus transmission. United Airlines, they blocked out middle seating in all of its planes for the sake of social distancing, and most airlines will be reducing food and beverage service. In China, restrooms will be cleaned in flight after being used by 10 passengers or every 2 hours. And here's what you can expect in terms of those changes coming now and in the few weeks here. According to the International Air Transport Association, airlines will continue to offer those cheap deals to entice you to fly again. But you can expect to see more connecting flights instead of nonstop, because this gives crews more opportunities to clean the aircraft. And there may be health screenings at the airport and potentially longer lines for quite some time. Now, with all of that, a new poll out here shows that 46% of people, they're They're ready to fly. 19%, they say they're going to wait for about 2 to 6 months, and 18% they have no travel plans, and the rest, they're undecided. Carrie, I got a few private messages from people that say, man, I really want to do something else other than sit in my house. I want to travel, but is it too soon? That's the big question this morning. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, and it seems like the line is really divided right now. People who want to open back up and others who don't. Is there a compromise? That's a question I posed this morning on Twitter. Thank you, Cleo. Well, here's some of the other big stories going on in coronavirus headlines we're following this morning. Want to let you know there are new testing sites now open in North Texas. One in Arlington at Parks Mall. Now, this is free to Tarrant County residents, but you do have to go ahead and pre-register on the City of Arlington's website. And Walgreens has opened up rapid testing sites at a location in Fort Worth on Camp Bowie West and in Dallas off Buckner. You'll be able to register, you'll be able to get results within 15 minutes, so pretty quickly there. And the eagerly awaited round 2 of Paycheck Protection Program loans is going to become available this morning. Congress actually reloaded the program with an additional $310 billion. That was after the first ran out, and they do expect this one to run out pretty quickly as well. So companies with up to 500 employees are eligible, along with independent contractors and those who are self-employed. That will be ready to go at 9:30 this morning, although I'm sure small businesses already know that. And Dallas-based Neiman Marcus is expected to file for bankruptcy. The retailer missed a $72 million interest payment. All of the company's stores are currently closed due to the outbreak. And that is a look at your morning rush. Tashar, we're back into the studio to you.
Man, Jordan, I got a pretty good read.